Sawadee ka! Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. Today we're gonna make a dish that's pretty hard to find in Thailand these days. People don't make it much anymore, but in Thai restaurants overseas, many of them still serve it. It's a dish called swimming Rama, or in Thai, พระรามลงสรง. Now it's a dish made of a bed of bright green morning glory or water spinach, topped with tender slices of pork and a rich red curry peanut sauce. It's so delicious. And the reason why we call it Rama is because Rama, the Hindu god in Thailand, is shown to be green. Even though if you Google image Rama, most of the images are going to be blue, which I don't understand, but that is not what we're concerned with right now. This dish is super delicious, easy. Let's get started. So let's start with the protein. This dish is typically made with pork, but you can definitely do some chicken breast if you'd like. That'll be really good. I've got some pork loin here. I want something lean because the sauce will be quite rich. And I'm gonna marinate it with some fish sauce. And I'm also going to add some water. Again, I like to add some water to lean meat when marinating because the pork will absorb all that, turning it super juicy. A little bit of oil just to, allow them to slide past each other more easily so they're not clumping together so much. And now I am also going to velvet my pork, which is a technique I've used before in my garlic lime pork recipe. I'll link to that video right here. But it's basically creating a film of a coating around the pork that keeps all the juices in when you cook it. So I'm going to do that by adding some cornstarch. And because this dish has quite a heavy sauce, I can be a little more heavy-handed with the velveting compared to my lime pork recipe. There we go. It looks like a lot of liquid right now. Do not worry. The pork over time will absorb all of that in. And that is the secret to juicy, tender pork. So that needs at least 20 minutes. Alrighty, so I'm gonna make basically a standard classic red curry, starting with reducing a little bit of coconut milk. Bring that to a boil, let it reduce until it's nice and thick and oily. Alright, so once the coconut milk is nice and thick like that, I'm gonna add my red curry paste, which I'm just using store-bought for this. And get that mixed up and get it all frying in the coconut oil. And I find it helpful to add the curry paste when the coconut milk hasn't reduced too much because it gives you a lot of liquid to help loosen the paste up. And I'm going to keep frying that until I start seeing coconut oil seeping out around the edges of the curry paste, which you can see happen right about now. So now when that's happening, the spices and herbs are sort of frying in that coconut oil. If that doesn't happen for you, don't worry about it. It's not too big of a deal. It does depend on the coconut milk itself. Now I'm going to add the rest of my coconut milk. And I'm going to add some of the seasoning in right now. So some palm sugar, a little bit more than you might do with a regular red curry. This sauce is super thick and it's sort of like a salty and sweet kind of sauce. I'm also going to add some fish sauce, of course. Now the amount of fish sauce entirely depends on your curry paste. So be very careful if you do store-bought paste. It can be quite salty, so go easy on it. And a little bit of sourness to balance all that out. I got some tamarind. Ooh. I'm gonna let that come to a simmer, allow the flavors to mix and the sugar to dissolve and all that stuff. Meanwhile, let's deal with the peanuts. So this is a peanut sauce, but not, one of those creamy looking peanut sauce. It's got texture and character. So right here, I got some roasted peanuts, and I always roast my own peanuts. I never buy roasted peanuts because who knows how long it's been roasted, and it's just never as fresh, never as tasty, and you can just easily do it in the oven. That's gonna go in my food processor right here. This is optional, but I've seen some recipes do it and I like adding it, is some toasted white sesame seeds. I'm gonna also add that to the food processor. You do not want this to become peanut butter. You want some grittiness, some texture, so you just want like course meal. Yeah. Ah, it smells so good. Right about there. And back to the sauce. Now I'm gonna add all the peanuts and the sesame seeds. And at this point, the sauce is basically done, but you want it to simmer for about 10 minutes just to allow all the flavors to mingle, for the peanuts and the curry sauce to become one. That looks perfect. You see a little bit of that red coconut oil floating to the top. Just perfect. I'm just gonna turn this off for now and give it a taste. And also look at the consistency. It should be not too thick, not too runny, like a nice rich gravy, okay? Now, let's see. Perfect. Salty, sweet, and just a little hint of tartness to balance. Oh, that's good. And you want the seasoning to be strong because the pork and the spinach is not going to have too much flavor. So now that's done. You can keep this for days also. So we've dealt with the pork, we've dealt with the sauce, and now we're going to deal with the Rama, which is the green part. Now in Thailand, we use pak bung, which is water spinach, also known as morning glory. I can't get that here right now. Sometimes I can, but not right now. So spinach, regular spinach will work just fine. It's a ton of spinach, but trust me, it will wilt to nothing, okay? So you need a lot of spinach for this. So I'm just gonna simply blanch it in boiling water. I did put a little bit of oil in the water so that when I take the spinach out, it gets the oil, it gets a little bit shiny and beautiful. Whee! I'm gonna put them all in. 10 seconds just to wilt, that's it. Okay, make sure you shake off as much water as you can and then up onto a plate. And now, the pork, which now looks like this. See how much all the liquid has been absorbed? That is exactly what we are looking for. I want to make sure I put the pork in my spider first. Make sure the water is on a full boil. I drop the pork in and I just help it along a little bit by stirring it, splitting it apart. And this will not take long. It'll take just 30 seconds, depending on how much pork you're doing. And that's it. Pork is done. Now, putting it together. So you definitely want to have rice with this. It's a very rich dish. And sometimes in Thailand, it'll come as a single dish meal where you get a plate of rice with it on the side. Okay, so I've got that right here, some rice. Now you want to put down your Rama. What a great way to eat lots of vegetables. And so the idea is you make a bed and a little bit of pork or chicken, whatever you're using. And here's the highlight. The Rama is now swimming in sauce. By the way, long song in Thai actually is more like bathing, not quite swimming, but minor details. You can garnish it with a little extra sesame seeds, just so people know that there's some of that in there. And that is it. How easy is that? And you want to keep extra sauce on the side so you can pour more if you need to. Oh, that pork is so tender. There's no better way to eat your greens than dousing it in a red curry peanut sauce. I'm telling you, it's rich and creamy, and the spinach is there to balance it. And that pork, I'm telling you, that velveting is so worth the effort and the time. So tender. And this, if you choose a curry paste that's not too spicy, would be a great dish for kids, a great way to get them to eat more greens. So I hope you give this a try. The recipe, as always, will be on hotthaikitchen.com. When you make it, send me a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so you don't miss an awesome recipe like this. And make sure you click that little bell icon to make sure you get a notification when I post a new video. If you love the show and you want to support us, check out our Patreon link in the description below, and I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal.